Jess, I think camping to Bathurst is the only way to go to Bathurst. Wouldn't you agree, Richard Crail?
I would. Matt Nolte, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. And what a perfect way to kick off a big Sunday here at Sandown and retro around with the Touring Car Masters and some retro names on the front row. We just heard from Dick Johnson. His son, Stephen, starts on the outside of the front row alongside former teammate and almost Uncle JB in the Holden Tirana.
And while the supercars might do it for one day of the year, these guys do it for 7 rounds of the year. These cars that raced here many, many years ago leave the grid for their formation lap. Yesterday, though, Kralsey, we had a fairly big crash once again for the number 35 Tirana.
Yeah, a real unfortunate moment for Jason Gomersal on the run up the back straight over the hill at turn 6. The car ran wide and made very, very significant contact with the tyre bundle. So that's at full speed. Huge impact. Jason is okay. He was taken to the medical centre, checked and released. And there is a certain sense of irony about that because the driver that he supports and sponsors and is good friends with, Todd Hazelwood, almost replicated that later on in the co-driver race yesterday afternoon. So a strange old day for Jason Gomersal and big racing, but he's fine and hopefully that Tirana is back in time for Bathurst.
The second big hit that car has copped since that big crash at Winton's. We take a look at the grid for race number 3 of the weekend. Bow and Johnson on the front row for this one. Abel Nika and Ryan Hansford on the second row. Great to see Ryan yesterday in his dad's old Castrol shirt from back in the days, wandering around the paddock. Tony Kay and Adam Garwood on the third row. Adam Bressington and Cameron Mason, who was lucky to avoid that incident on the back straight yesterday. And Jimmy Richards and Terry Lawler on row number 5.
Really important race in the context of the Championship 2 matters. We have a look at rows 6 through 10 and cool Rusty French starting from the back row. Talk about retro names and history at this place. 5 points now split John Bow and Adam Bressington in the Championship. So by virtue of getting pole position in qualifying, John Bow gets 5 bonus points, but that's it. That's the margin, first to second in the TCM standings going into this race, and then only 2 more rounds to go to round out the season. So there's a lot on the line, really competitive racing, a whole different host of cars and different performance at the pointy end of this grid. Should be a good 10-lap race.
Beautiful day here at Sandown. The sun is out, all the rain and the dark clouds have disappeared. It's a postcard day here for the Wilson Security Sandown 500. We've got Melinda Price back in the field as well. She had brake troubles with that car we saw pull up at the end on Friday. There she is there in car number 11. 20 years since she contested the Sandown 500 with Karen Brill, we know very well from Adelaide.
Rusty French put a brand new engine in the Sky Sands Mustang and will start this one from 19th place. Had dramas in qualifying and practice on Friday and unfortunately missed the trophy race on Friday afternoon. On-board cameras in this race, one of them with the great man Jim Richards. The Shannon's Ford Falcon Sprint will start this one from 9th place. This guy, the king of Sandown, and Adam Bressington, title contender, the White Line Racing Faber Camaro, who goes from 1 row in front of Jim, also has an on-board camera.
So the Vodafone safety car comes in, Bow and Johnson. How many times have we said that in the past 18 months as they roll down to take the green flag in the final race of the Touring Car Masters here on Sunday at Sandown, and we're underway in the final race of the day.
Great start, Adam Bressington right of screen in the yellow Camaro, goes down the inside of Tony Karamfilowski. A little bit of contact, but gets it stopped and turned in. Hansford went round the outside. Important Bressington makes ground early though, Matt, given the championship calculations at stake, but it's John Bow in the Tirana in front. Stephen Johnson's car, though, stronger up the back straight. It's got a couple of extra Ks an hour in straight line performance.
Hansford launching onto the back of Eddie Abel. Nika, contact now between the Karamfilowski car and Garwood, and that could have been much bigger than what it looked at the start. And the number 12 Tirana, parallel to the guardrail, left-hand side. He had a big dent down the side of the number 12 car, but puts him to the back. Man, he was lucky there.
Yeah, he and Tony Karamfilowski racing wheel to wheel in race 1. A little bit of damage. Jeff Fain, the Queenslander, bounces across the grass. Turn 6, 7 and 8, the run down into Dandenong Road, but gathers it up. That could have been much, much worse. Adam Garwood, young Tasmanian, still in his teens, looking to move up through the ranks of Australian motor racing. Got away with one there, I think.
John Bow just stretches the legs of the Wilson Security Tirana. It's out to 1.2 seconds, and Wayne Mercer now stopped. Wayne Mercer has pulled up the big Falcon on the little kink that brings you onto the back straight. So already lots of action in the opening lap as now Ryan Hansford looks for a pass down the inside of Eddie Abel Nika. Nothing doing down there in turn number 1.
Cast your mind back a couple of weeks to Queensland Raceway. Those two had an almighty scrap for the race lead in the 3rd race of the weekend up there. Battling for the victory, 5.8 litre Ford versus 5 litre Tirana. Here's Jim.
Fresh from his trip to Silverstone a few weeks ago and the classics over there in the BMW. He campaigned many, many years ago. Just makes it look like it's a Sunday drive, doesn't he?
Properly embracing the retro round too. He's been jumping into the ex-Gibson Motorsport Skyline for the Nissan Track Attack laps they've been doing every morning here. Really enjoying jumping into the car that took him to the Australian Touring Car Championship. Late 1980s, a lot of success here. Two-time winner of the Sandown 500. His track record in Touring Car Masters here even more impressive. So let's go back and have a look. Everyone sideways on cold tyres. There's Garwood in the white Tirana up the inside of Karen Filosky. Tony Kay, I'm not sure if he was still sliding, but just moved across and there was contact, and fortunately Garwood's impact with the Armco barrier was very, very light. This will show it better, head on.
And the concrete wall, he missed that by feet, really. Look at that, just past the concrete wall, got the guardrail in the end. Now it gets close to the front because Johnson has clawed his way back up and looking for a move down the inside of John Bauer. Fascinating race here in the final of the Touring Car Masters. Yeah, this is terrific stuff. Now, the WM Waste Mustang was about 3 or 4 tenths of a second faster in the middle sector, which is from now up over the hill on the back straight down into Dandenong Road. So he's got a straight line speed advantage over the Tirana. He's tucked up right behind his old teammate. Very good family friend. In fact, he's not, because he's alongside, wheel to wheel, and Stephen Johnson goes to the lead. Horsepower over the top of Sandown, and Johnson moves to the lead now on lap number 3. Down to Dandenong Road corner as Hansford takes to the grass. On driver's right, will slot back in behind Adam Bressington right now. I wonder if Hansford was having a run on Eddie Abelnica. Just had to bail out of it there. Take the shortcut. Gee, there's been some cars across there. It's going to take some time to grow the grass back over the run into Dandenong Road. Here is Bressington. Let's have a look at what happened to Ryan Hansford. So he was actually scrapping with Adam Bressington. So that was 4th and 5th place and just had to bail to driver's right. This might show it even better. Right down the middle as Bressington went past. And really, he's off the wrong side of the racing line, and Bressington just watched him sail off to the grass on the right-hand side and muddy up the multi-spares Tirana. Was him back behind car 95. Everyone would have just had visions of A. Jason Gomersall and B. Todd Hazelwood yesterday there, so probably abandoning an attempt to actually make the corner was the wise option for Ryan Hansford. They were battling with that car all season long. A lot of power steering dramas with that Tirana, but they've finally got it up to speed. It's now a legitimate contender week in, week out in the Touring Car Masters. This is a battle for 6th, 7th and 8th. It's Jim Richards in front of Cameron Mason in the number 3 Ford Mustang. Behind them, Terry Lawler. That's the car Glenn Seaton raced the last couple of seasons in TCM, got a couple of race wins. And it's back after a big crash in Adelaide at the start of the season. Massive rebuild. Very cool to see that car back on the road. We were expecting Aaron Seaton to drive that early in the year, and that all changed when Terry got hold of the car to jump on board with the 95 machine. Tony Karafalowski just served a pit lane penalty for that contact with the number 12. So we have a listen now to Adam Bressington's car as he chases Eddie Abelnica. He had a really good run there, Matt, on Abelnica. The XB Falcon punches a fairly substantial hole in the air up the long back straight where these cars are well over 260 k's an hour. Unfortunately, Adam Garwood in pit lane. But again, just decided to back out of it before they got to turn 6. This is a good battle, though. How's the sound of it? The top of the back straight. Windscreen wipers rattling away there at over 250 kilometres per hour. This time he's got a better run. But Fast Eddie and that big XB coupe will just pull away in the distance. It's got some straight line motivation, that XB Falcon. So much grunt, and in the lower bit of the rev range, a lot of torque, so it drags itself out of the corners really well. But Bressington's thing looks really good under brakes.
So he gets good drive out of turn 4. He might look at a move down at Dandenong Road. So this is a really good fight. It's 3rd and 4th, final spot in the top 3. Might actually decide the podium for the round overall, given we only had that one race on Friday, which was the trophy race, which everyone gets the same points. You get points for starting, points for finishing, but they're the same for everybody. So this is an important little scrap. Johnson still in front of John Bow. And Powell at the moment would win the round by a point by virtue of getting that pole position. So qualifying pretty important, Matt Nolte, in a series this close.
That's been a great idea, pushing that back to Friday, the trophy race stands. It really gives us, oh, that's Mark King. He did this on Friday during practice. He's still in the rent-a-car while his car gets repaired after that crash earlier this year. Rusty French back in the field. We haven't seen much of Rusty this weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately had that engine drama on Friday, so he's been running around at the back of the field. You and I spoke to Nigel Benson, who owns that car. Said every time they make it go faster, I think the price might go up. It's a good car, though. Mark decided to start from the back of the field in the trophy race, just to be a little bit careful as Bressington continues to range up. So this is a really interesting look at the strengths and weaknesses of these two cars. No doubt the Falcon is quicker in a straight line, but the Camaro better under brakes by the looks of it and better through the corner. Two drivers very evenly matched and with similar sort of experience in this game. So this is a really good even scrap.
And a proven race winner, this car here too. When Andrew Miedeke steered the car a few years ago, the only driver to clean sweep around here at Sandown in Touring Car Masters. Just down the back straight we go. Closing stages of the final race here today. 2 races, unfortunately, due to that big crash yesterday. Race number 1 as Rusty French goes side by side with King.
Good racing room given. Mark saw Rusty coming down the inside, just opened the steering up a bit at turn 1 and gave him racing room and holds onto the spot. This is a beautiful car, that Sky Sands Mustang, incredibly well engineered, beautiful piece of kit. Rusty's still enjoying his motor racing, and Pro Drive Racing Australia, the team he co-owns, will start from pole position in this afternoon's Wilson Security Sandown 500. Young Cam Waters and Richie Stanaway.
Great effort yesterday. 2 young stars starting from the front row today for the Wilson Security Sandown 500. This isn't that enabled Ryan Hansford to claw onto the back. And Abel Nika now makes a mistake, and this is the only invitation that Bressington needs, and Hansford will try for the switch here and gets it done.
Yeah, great move. Good move, Ryan Hansford, just opportunistic, capitalised on the mistake from Eddie Abel Nika, so he saw that coming. He drives that multi-spares Tirana really, really hard. And now he'll have a go at Adam Bressington and try and get himself into the top 3. So watch Abel Nika under brakes. Bright red XB Falcon. It's the length of an aircraft carrier. Just didn't quite get it stopped and ran wide. And that was all the invitation the White Line Racing Camaro needed to go through.
That had been brewing, though, for a couple of laps. Yep. Bressington's been applying the pressure and just pinched that left front enough to drop himself off the road. And then Hansford hung tough, but he had the better line. Went through the left and the right-hander for that number 6 Tirana. And now he claws on the back of Bressington. With 3 laps to go here. Johnson 1.2 seconds clear of Bow. This is the battle we're looking at now. 3rd, 4th and 5th. Race 3 of the Touring Car Masters.
Gee, they've got the performance between all these different types of cars right, haven't they? This is the most open we've seen TCM in years between a whole group of different racing cars. And they run different rev limits and different weights on these cars just to make sure that the competition is even, but it still allows the strengths and weaknesses of each car to come to the fore. So you've got the Falcon, which is amazing in a straight line. The Tirana, which is a bit of an all-round performer, handles really well. It's got good horsepower, but not quite as much perhaps as the Falcon and Camaro. But what it does is produces really good, hard motor racing that still allows the relative strengths and weaknesses of these cars to shine through, as it did back in the day, Matt, when these cars were racing.
And we see it at Bathurst also, don't we?
Yeah.
We head up there in a few weeks' time for the next round of the Touring Car Masters. And then the streets of Newcastle, an unknown territory for everybody when we head there in November.
Straight circuits have got Tirana written all over them.
Absolutely.
Short straights and lots of corners, but you can never count out Stephen Johnson, and he continues to work his way to the front of the championship as well. He's not far behind John Bow, and this will only help the cause. He'll pull some more points out with this weekend. As he starts the final lap, Johnson continues to lead Bow as this scrap continues between Adam Bressington and Ryan Hansford.
Hansford going to get it done here with 1 lap to go. Abel Nika back behind him. But there's some 7 seconds now behind John Bow. And here comes Hansford. right on the edge here, and he's going to pull the multi-spares Tirana up, or is he? No, he doesn't.
Too hot, had the big slide, locked the brakes going into turn one and ran wide. And now Eddie A will try and do what Hansford did a couple of laps ago and ran the outside at 2, but couldn't quite make it stick.
I think really that was his only chance to do it there.
Yeah, he'll lose out to the straight line advantage of the 350 Chev in the 95 Camaro. Had to have a go, and he did it, and it was clean and hard and really good racing.
You can see the rears just chattering away going into turn number 1. So we go back to our leaders, Johnson and Bowers. They slice their way through the lap traffic.
He's flashing the lights, JB.
It's better to happen that this weekend.
So Hansford, final roll of the dice, you'd think. Down into Dandenong Road and couldn't quite get it done. Well, retro round at Sandown, retro names at the front. Stephen Johnson's going to win this.
And 3 wins for the season, second of the weekend for Stephen Johnson. Picks it up ahead of John Bow here in the Touring Car Masters. A long way back into some lap traffic here still with Bob Wisely. Oh, the Tirana tries to split down the middle. Who's going to get the 3rd position? Give it to Hansford. And it's by 1,000th of a second.
Wow.
He's a Hansford, all right.
Wow. And Adam Bressington shakes his head. Balked by a lap car a little bit. A little hesitation. It was all Ryan needed. Check this out.
So they come up to put a lap on Bob Wisely in the number 7 Tirana. And watch the multi-spares car push his way through the middle. He made the gap open, slots on by, and that's what 1,000th of a second looks like at the finish.
Hand out the window as well. And a wave from Bressington. So he was shaking his head, but I think he enjoyed that, as did we. What a finish. What a great race.
12 10,000ths of a second corrected on our screens now. Hansford gets himself onto the podium with that pass as well. But Johnson, the winner, 6/10 of a second ahead of Bow. Hansford, Bressington, best on ground efforts there today. Eddie Abel, Nico Richards, Terry Lawler back in 7th. Mason, Jeff Fain, his best result inside the top 10. And Mark King completing the top 10.
Yeah, Rusty French worked his way to 11th in front of Graham Alexander. Tony Karanfilowski back to 13th after a drive-through. Unfortunately for Melinda Price, a DNF, Wayne Mercer too. And Adam Garwood ended up in pit lane.